Yeah, thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. Please excuse me for my voice. I'm suffering a bit the change of season. I hope you can understand me. I don't normally sound like this. And so I'm Benjamin Auer. I work for the Energy Agency of South Tyrol, CasaClima, which is located in the northern part of Italy at the border with Austria. And our agency is co-leading the Youth Help Action Group 9 together with Etienne Miedot from other Energy Agency. And the hydrogen priority and the project AMETHyST started, as Etienne has said before, a little bit out of this Youth Help cosmos. And in the AMETHyST project, we have been working on the development of policy recommendations and guidelines for especially for local and regional administrations, and what steps they could implement to advance hydrogen projects in their regions and facilitate the development of hydrogen projects. And the way we have done this is through three steps mostly. So first of all, we have been engaging over these 3 years of the project in the mapping and analysis of existing hydrogen strategies, policies and initiatives, which are available as a downloadable document on the AMETHyST website if you are interested to look at it. And they are available on the Guideline platform also to be consulted. And then we have organized a series of expert discussion tables, the so-called Interregional Exchange Program, which took place, I think, 4 times over the last 2 years, approximately, in different regions of the Alpine territory. And we've organized expert discussion tables there, and together with site visits to best practices or to hydrogen production sites or companies active in the field of hydrogen. And so we have harvested a lot of valuable expert input from these exchange meetings. And then we have carried out an expert online survey earlier this year, where we have gathered more than 30 responses, or more than 30 experts from across the Alpine regions have answered to this survey, and have answered a series of questions about the barriers perceived and the recommendations to be given in order to advance hydrogen projects. You can see here some of the results. It's probably a bit hard to read here, but I don't want to go in detail anyway, because you can look at these graphs later on if you like, directly in the report. But what you can see is that there is quite a strong agreement among experts across the Alpine area on what the barriers for green hydrogen projects in this case are. So, for example, of course, the cost of production and of hydrogen infrastructure is very unattractive, or for example, the lack of expertise to support the implementation of pilot projects, or the lack of political commitment. So there is quite a lot of agreement between experts on the different barriers in green hydrogen. And the same can be said about recommendations that are given for regional policy planning. So, for example, that a strategic framework is needed. So you can see here that basically 99% of all experts agree on the necessity for regions and for public authorities to provide such a strategic framework. And so on. So there is, among the different options we have provided in this survey, there is quite a lot of agreement between all the experts on this. As I've said, these are just 2 figures as a way of example, but there are quite a few more, so you're very welcome to look them up afterwards to check them out individually. So after carrying out this expert survey, we have come up with 3 fields of intervention, which are these, as you can see in here. So promote regional policy planning with green hydrogen strategies at first, then ensure coordination between national and regional hydrogen policies, and foster transnational and trans-regional cooperation. We have not come up with recommendations, technical recommendations, because first of all, it's not really our field of expertise, but also I think from a technical point of view, things are quite clear, but what is not clear for local and regional administrations is mostly how to go about starting and implementing a green hydrogen project.
Okay.
So regarding the first field of intervention, promote regional policy planning and green hydrogen strategies. You can see here on this map the status of national hydrogen strategies. So as you can see here, most of the countries of the Alpine area, actually most of the countries of Europe have a national hydrogen strategy in place. At regional level, that's not the case. Some regions have, some don't have a hydrogen strategy. Slovenia hydrogen strategy is still under development, and you can get updated information that is on the European Hydrogen Observatory, which is a great resource to check out if you want to get an overview on policies and on the status of hydrogen strategies and policies at European level. So the first step, which is vital for regions and public authorities, is to draft a green hydrogen strategy. We did not want to reinvent the wheel here. We have largely based our contents provided on the Green Hydrogen Guide to Policymaking, published by IRENA, which is the International Renewable Energy Agency. And the steps for providing such a strategy or for drafting steps such a strategy are highlighted here. So you go from a vision at a general level where you define key targets, where you involve at the most basic level the public and the private stakeholders, to drafting a roadmap and to defining at the end the strategy with the key targets, and where you ensure the coherence with the rest of energy policy, and where you define direct integrating decision-making measures, and you introduce also a timeline. So this comes at the strategy level, but the single steps to get there are outlined, and here are outlined in much more detail, of course, in the publication. Very important are the green hydrogen policy principles that should be underlying any regional or national or local hydrogen strategy, which can be summed up in these three key topics. So there is core strategy on the right and technical focus. Energy efficiency first, so any strategy should always put the focus on, first of all, increasing or at least not reducing energy efficiency in order to reduce the overall amount of energy used in any system. So of course, any case in which we use hydrogen and we decrease the overall efficiency of our energy system is not good practice, and at least not something that we should pursue. We should first of all increase energy efficiency and then think about substituting one energy vector with the other. The additionality of renewable energy sources, of course, is vital. We have to make sure that we do not produce green hydrogen at the expense of other uses, which would thereby become more climate intensive. And the decarbonization potential is, of course, really important. So we have different uses where we can have hydrogen applications, and we have to make sure that we address the uses and we use hydrogen there where it is most effective in terms of our overall climate policies and overall climate goals. So we do need to decarbonize our economy. Where is it most effective? Where can I use hydrogen at best? And it's generally considered that these sectors are the hard-to-abate sectors, such as, of course, aviation, steel industry, and so on. Governance, policy, and finance. So we need to unlock external expertise. Implement steering instruments for green hydrogen in order to make sure that we do not get locked into an energy system where we have a lot of gray hydrogen. Just for example, we do not get the green hydrogen we do need. So this could be, for example, public procurement standards, which make sure that we do actually get green hydrogen. And if we nudge our economy in that direction. Policies need to be aligned at regional, at local, at national level, working towards the same goals and making sure that we do have a match between supply and demand between different levels. And we need to make sure we have effective governance and cooperation at multiple levels. And then what's very important is the whole monitoring, knowledge, and social acceptance part. Of course, in particular, the social acceptance might be something worth considering. We are very used to working with hydrogen, and we know what it is about and how it works. But I think when a public transport operator goes out into a mountain village and says, we're going to put a hydrogen refueling station there, then the ideas in the local population range from there is water to there is a hydrogen bomb. And I think it's important to address safety concerns and that might be there in the population, but also be clear and transparent about the economic investment that is needed for any hydrogen project. And because we are at very early stage still in the hydrogen economy, and projects that are subsidized or funded through public money might stop in 2 years or 3 years because they are not viable and they might be abandoned. So we need to be clear about that. We need to be transparent about that. And just to make sure we don't burn the ground and for future action and future investment in a few years' time if people see that public money is spent and not much happens afterwards. So the second field of intervention is to ensure coordination between national and regional hydrogen policies. I've mentioned it a little bit, the policy alignment. So we need to connect the regional ambition with national strategies. And we need to establish national support structures. There are a few nice examples there described in a little bit more detail in our publication about how the national level can support regions with support structures such as one-stop shops for funding opportunities, for example, or with expert advice on technical, economic, and funding aspects of implementing hydrogen projects. So there are 2 examples from Germany, for example, where this one-stop shop, the German government, is Nutzerstelle Wasserstoff. So it's a consulting service for funding opportunities, for example, for those regions and local authorities that want to advance a hydrogen project. And the third field of intervention is to foster transnational and transregional cooperation. There is ample scope for this in the Alpine region. Many regions face similar challenges. Not all regions have the same challenge. Of course, we have Alpine regions that have maritime ports. We have Alpine regions that have a lot of heavy industry, some that have none. But many challenges are similar. The energy system might be comparable in many Alpine regions. And so there is a lot of scope for cooperation, and especially there is a lot of scope for cross-border cooperation in order to make sure that the future hydrogen economy will be interoperable and will be synchronized. And we are in such early stage still that we need to match demand and supply also across borders, because it might not make the most sense to think about small ecosystems Even though from a sustainability perspective, it would be, of course, ideal to produce and use hydrogen in one single place, but it economically, financially, it might not make the most sense at this early stage. We might need to think cross-border, trans-regional, in order to get the hydrogen economy going and nudge it in the right direction. So we have had in AMETHyST and also in the USALP environment, we have had a lot of opportunities in the last few years to have trans-regional exchange, to have cross-border exchange in different events. We have had conferences such as this one and the starting conference in Moutier 3 years ago. We've had the interregional exchange program in different locations, and there have been several different opportunities to get in touch with other EU-funded projects, such as the H2MA project, for example, which is working on a very similar topics and challenges, another Alpine Space funded project. And we have had a lot of exchange with, which has produced a lot of beneficial learning from each other. So it is really important for regions and for public authorities to pursue this exchange further in order to learn from each other, to get the beneficial insights from the projects of each other. And the Skyline platform presented before by Leonora is a valuable tool to gather know-how and to learn what other regions are doing and what they've done, what has worked, what has not worked. It is also, we have seen that it is very valuable also to exchange, to create expert working groups. For example, some regions have established these. There is a working group, in fact, in the USALP, this hydrogen focus group, where experts from different regions exchange on a variety of topics. And we have listed a bit what the priorities of such a working group could be. There is a list of like 10 or 12 points in the publication. You can check it out. I have asked AI to condense them into one slide, and this has come up here. So the tasks of such a working group could be to exchange and collaboration and knowledge, to align policy and governance, to and to report barriers and gaps, also policy gaps up the policy chain, to find support mechanisms for financing and implementation, and to engage in sustainability and with the public. So this is it. I think this was a little bit of a powdering on what is written in the report, so mainly titles and keywords. But you can find the report, you will be able to find it in a few days, I think, on the Skyline platform and on the AMETHyST webpage in all of the Alpine languages. We are finalizing the translations, and it will then be made available to the public, so you can check out the full report there. And any questions, of course, I'm happy to answer them.